Hey everyone, Tawfiq Morrar here, and I'm an attorney at the Morrar Law Office here in Elk Grove, California. And today I want to give you some insight and some information about some federal government programs available to individuals and businesses due to the COVID-19 and the coronavirus issues we're having. On March 27th, President Trump signed into law the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. The CARES Act was a bipartisan effort by both Republicans and Democrats in the Senate and also the House of Representatives to get some well-deserved and well-needed relief to American families and American businesses during this COVID-19 crisis. There's many important provisions in the CARES Act, too many to discuss in one video, too many to discuss in all these videos. But today I really picked three elements and three provisions that I think are going to benefit the American taxpayers and small businesses the most. So we'll talk about those three here. The first one is the recovery rebates for individuals. Those are the tax stimulus rebate payments. Those tax payments you're going to be getting early on. You'll be able to benefit from those in the next few weeks. The next one are the Paycheck Protection Program loans, or I'll call them the PPP loans. These loans are forgiven. They're forgivable. We'll discuss that also shortly. And the last program we're going to discuss are the EIDLs, the Economic Injury Disaster Loans. And that's the one that includes a $10,000 advance, a $10,000 grant. So let's get right into it. The recovery rebates for individuals. This is a payment. It's a new tax stimulus rebate, tax payment that you'll be getting back for the 2020 tax year. What the CARES Act did was this created that tax rebate, and then it moved earlier, the payout for it, to basically starting April of 2020. It's going to be given to taxpayers who fall within various thresholds. If you're a single filer and you're filing your taxes without anyone else, and you make under $75,000, you'll be getting the full rebate amount of $1,200. If you make over $75,000 but under $99,000, it's going to be tiered. So for every $100 over the $75,000, they'll be taking $5 off that $1,200. If you get to $99,000 as a single filer, $99,000 and above, you are not getting a rebate back. You will not be eligible for a rebate because you make too much money under the CARES Act. Now, if you're filing jointly with your spouse or your domestic partner, we're going to basically double those numbers we just mentioned. So as long as your taxable income is under $150,000, you'll be getting $1,200 times 2, $2,400. If your taxable income is over $150,000 but under $198,000, for every $100 over, they'll be taking $5 off the $2,400 rebate. And if you make over $198,000 and you're filing jointly, you will not be getting a rebate because you are over the threshold limit of the CARES Act. Additionally, if you have children ages 16 and under, each child will be bringing you $500 in this rebate. So if you're a husband and wife and you have 2 children, you can expect a payment of $3,400 if you earn below $150,000. There is not currently a limit in how many children can be claimed and how many children can be claimed under this act. So as we're reading it right now, what we're seeing in the CARES Act is there's no limited number of kids. You could have 1 child, 2 child, 5 children, maybe even more. And from the reading of the act, it would be $500 per child. If you've already filed your 2019 taxes, then your 2019 income level is what the IRS is going to use to assess where you fall for this rebate amount. If you have not filed your 2019 taxes yet, the IRS will be using your 2018 income level to assess where you fall in this income level. The money you're going to be getting back in this rebate is not taxable. It's not earned income. They're not wages or anything else like that. It's a tax credit just like any other tax credit you might see over the years. To get the rebate, it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. The IRS announced earlier this week that this rebate and this money is going to be automatically direct deposited into the bank account you have linked to your recent tax payments. So if you got a tax return last year and that tax return came to a bank account, that bank account is still on file, that's where you're going to get this rebate. If you had a bank account, that bank account is what you use to pay taxes. That bank account is still on file. That bank account will be used for this rebate. If you do not have a bank account linked to your tax filings, the IRS said they're going to be setting up some type of web portal or online system so you can opt in. has not been set up yet. It's currently being developed, but we expect to see that in the immediate future. Earlier this morning on April 3rd, the Department of Treasury also announced that they're going to be starting these payments next week, as early as April 9th, and they'll be paying out those who are at the lower income levels first. So the lower your income, you'll be getting your payment, and every week there will be a tranche or an amount of fund distributed based on where the income is per week that the IRS is paying out. The next program is going to be the Paycheck Protection Program loan. I'll call it the PPP loan for short. This is a great lifeline for a lot of small businesses out there who are struggling with payroll, struggling to keep their employees, want to keep things going afloat, keep their payroll going, and keep those staff that have worked so hard to build your company close to home and not venturing out for other employment. This is without doubt the biggest challenge I'm seeing with a lot of my clients, retaining staff and keeping that cash flow. PPP loans are open to any business that has 500 or fewer employees. A really broad range of businesses. You could be a corporation, LLC, partnership, sole proprietor, and it's even open up for independent contractors. If you're somebody doing your own work, you could also apply for this loan as well. Nonprofit entities are also eligible to receive the benefits of this loan. The maximum loan amount is $10 million. $10 million. There's an interest rate attached to it. The maximum interest rate that you'll be charged is 4% on that $10 million or whatever your loan amount is. We're currently seeing reports that the current rate and the existing loans or in the upcoming loans are going to be anywhere between half of 1% and 1%. So half of 1% and 1% is what you could expect in the immediate future. It might go up as the months pass. The actual loan amount that you'll be getting is going to be determined based on what your average monthly income has been over the past 12 months. So when you apply for your loan, they're going to be assessing how much your payroll is monthly, taking the average per month, and they're going to take that dollar amount, and you could be eligible for up to 2.5 times that dollar amount. So if your average payroll after that 12-month assessment is $10,000, for easy numbers, $10,000, you can get 2.5 times that, or $25,000 in this PPP loan. If you have a larger business and your payroll is $200,000 for your company on a monthly basis, you can be getting up to $500,000 with this PPP loan to help alleviate some of those payroll costs you're going to be having. The loan should generally be used for payroll and employment expenses, salaries, wages, tips, severances if you're letting people go, taxes. Remember, if you're paying your employees, you still got to pay those taxes. You can use this money for some of those employment taxes as well. Also, it's a great chance to use the money for group healthcare coverage. If you're paying to your employees their group healthcare coverage, the money can be used for that. You can use the PPP funds for non-payroll purposes, but to be eligible for forgiveness, you have to use at least 75%, at least 3/4 of the PPP money for payroll or employment costs. The term of the loan is 2 years, standard 2-year term. The first 6 months of payments are deferred. So you're not making any payments in the first 6 months of the loan. All those payments will be built out to the last 1.5 years of the loan. If you want to pay off the loan earlier, you can pay it off before the 2 years is done. You can also apply for forgiveness before the 2 years is done. Let's talk about the forgiveness. To get the loan forgiven, you have to prove that the loan proceeds and the money you got from the PPP loan were used for those, payroll and employment costs we discussed earlier. You have to use the money for those employment costs 8 weeks after you get the loan. So there's going to be an 8-week compliance review, 8-week accounting to make sure from the day you got the loan, within those first 8 weeks, you use that money for your employment costs, your payroll costs, your staffing costs. You need to show, obviously, appropriate documentation, accounting, and all the documents needed to ensure that the funds were used for that category, and your loan will hopefully be forgiven. The PPP loans are granted by the SBA, but they are serviced by your local bank, a bank that is SBA approved and also FDIC insured. It's best to go to the bank you have your business account with, get to know your business banker if you don't know them already. I really recommend you have a good relationship with your business banker and your bank at that time. They're going to be the one who is handling your loan review process, your approval, your processing, and eventually your loan forgiveness. The loan application process just opened today, which is April 3rd. So you want to make sure that you have enough time. Expect a huge backlog. A lot of banks are moving the application process online to avoid people coming into the bank and taking up all these appointments. So apply online, contact your bank, apply online where the application process will probably be. You'll get an appointment to sit with your banker and go through the process accordingly. The last program we're going to talk about related to the COVID-19 crisis are the EIDLs, the Economic Injury Disaster Loans. The EIDLs, it's not a new program. They predate the COVID-19 crisis. They predate the CARES Act, but they've really been at the forefront lately because of this lucrative and infamous $10,000 grant. So we'll talk about that in a second as well. Similar to the PPP loan, EIDLs are small business loans. Use them to offset costs for your business. Unlike the PPP loans, though, you can use the EIDL money for payroll and non-payroll expenses, such as rent, supplies, inventory, or maybe other loan obligations or expenses that you have. The EIDL has that provision for the $10,000 advance. So just like the PPP loan, you got to apply for the loan with the EIDL. Unlike the PPP loan, this EIDL is straight through the SBA. It's an online application. Most applications are online. I've seen them myself. They're pretty straightforward, pretty streamlined. I've worked on them with a few clients already. During the application process, you can check a box that you want to be considered for this emergency grant of up to $10,000. Check that box. Currently, this $10,000 is supposed to be processed within 3 days after they receive your EIDL application. Section 1110 of the CARES Act is what authorizes this emergency advance, this emergency grant with EIDLs. So after you apply for the EIDL, apply for that loan, the application is going to be processed still. Still got to be processed. Within 3 days after your application being received, you should hopefully get your $10,000 grant or up to $10,000 grant at that time. If you are approved for a loan in the future and your application is processed and you're offered a loan and you take that loan, the $10,000 will not be part of that loan. So let's say you get a $100,000 loan. You already got your $10,000. What's remaining is the $90,000 that's going to be dispersed later. Your loan amount is going to be for the $90,000. If you apply for an EIDL, you're given the $10,000 and your application is later denied. You do not get the future loan. You do not have to repay that emergency grant of $10,000. You're keeping that. Section 1110, subsection E5 of the CARES Act states word for word, an applicant shall not be required to repay any amounts of an advance provided under the subsection, even if subsequently denied a loan under 7B2 of the Small Business Act. Section 7B2 of the Small Business Act basically allows these emergency funds to be granted by the Small Business Administration. So again, if you want the $10,000 advance, you have to apply for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. You have to apply for the loan. You may be approved, you may be denied for that loan, but you have to apply for that loan first. During the loan review process, you can get an advance of up to $10,000 to use for emergency expenses, keep that cash flow going until the loan is processed. The $10,000 advance does not have to be repaid, but the remainder of any future EIDL loan or the remainder of your approved loan must be repaid. Let me repeat that. The $10,000 advance does not have to be repaid, but the remainder of the EIDL, if you get an EIDL, must be repaid. It is not forgiven, unlike the PPP loan, which can be forgiven. The SBA can issue your business an EIDL of up to $2 million. That's a lot less than the $10 million PPP loan. Interest rates for the EIDLs are 3.75% currently for businesses, 2.75% for nonprofit organizations. For any loan amounts under $25,000, there is currently no collateral being requested or being demanded from the SBA. For any EIDL loan amounts above $25,000, the SBA will most likely be requesting collateral, detailed finances, and some security to make sure you can pay those funds back. Those are three programs. We got the payroll protection loans, the EIDLs, and also the recovery rebates for Americans, that stimulus payment. Keep in mind that these programs are not mutually exclusive, meaning you could benefit from more than one at the same time. If you're a business owner, you can get the recovery rebate tax payment for your personal expenses, And you can also get the PPP loan or an EIDL for your business expenses. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to my office or your own attorney or accountant, bookkeeper who will have more information on these programs. They can walk you through how to apply for them and where your eligibility lies. Stay safe during these times. I'll put some links to some articles and information in the box below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.